Accused molester has alleged election fraud in this hotly contested Alabama Senate race that he lost. Roy Moore wants today's certification, which would name the Democratic challenger, Doug Jones, the winner officially. He wants this postponed. So what is going to happen? We've been trying to reach Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill, and we have successfully done so, and he joins us live now by phone. Mr. Secretary of State, thank you very much for being with us.
Allison, thank you for having me as your guest once again.
I really appreciate having you because you are the source that can put all of this to bed. Do Roy Moore's claims of election fraud have any merit? Mr. Merrill? Mr. Merrill, this is
Hello?
Hi, I lost you for a second. Can you hear me? Mr. Merrill?
Hey, Allison, I'm sorry something just happened with the phone connection. Forgive me, but I don't know if that'll happen again, and I believe what you were asking me is, will this affect anything? The short answer to that is no. Doug Jones will be certified today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time. The governor, Kay Ivey, our Attorney General, Steve Marshall, and I will meet in the office of the Secretary of State and the executive office, and we will sign the document certifying him as the senator for the state of Alabama. He will be sworn in by Vice President Pence on the 3rd of January when the Senate returns.
Mr. Merrill, thank you very much for that breaking news. Thank you for clarifying that for our viewers, that Roy Moore, you believe that his claims of election fraud do not hold water. How did you reach that conclusion?
Well, and let me say this, Allison. I think it's important for you and your viewers to know that any citizen has the opportunity to submit an allegation of voter fraud that they've witnessed or that they've observed or that has been reported to them. And we'll investigate those. We've already had well more than 100 that have been reported to us. We've adjudicated more than 60 of those, and we will continue to do that.
But when you say you've adjudicated them, what did you find? If you had 100 claims of voter fraud and you've looked into 60 of them, what did you find?
Well, let me give you the 4 top ones that we've had very briefly. Number one was that there was a town called Bordelama in Alabama that has 5,000 plus folks that live there, 2,000 plus folks that live there, and 5,000 of those people voted. Well, that's a flat-out lie because there's not even a town named Bordelama in the state of Alabama. Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Okay. So I see what you have to do. You go through each one of these and you
Allison, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me, Mr. Merrill? Mr. Merrill? Technology is failing us right now. Mr. Merrill, can you hear me? Okay, here's the recap. We just had the Secretary of State. We're going to get him back as soon as technology stops failing us. He says that he is not giving any credence to Roy Moore's attempt to file this lawsuit claiming election fraud in the state of Alabama. He wanted his opponent, Doug Jones, not to be certified, but you just heard from the Secretary of State, John Merrill. He said that he will be certifying the Democrat, Doug Jones, today at 1 p.m. local time as the winner. He will be the next senator from Alabama.
It's interesting. He said dozens and dozens of claims of voter fraud. One of them he actually investigated was an interview that was done at the victory party where one of Doug Jones' supporters say, hey, we came from around the country, we rallied, and we got our boy the win. They thought, well, wait a minute. Are you an Alabama voter? He claims he did look into that claim. The man
turns out they were just volunteers bringing people to the polls.
He had misspoke, but the man had lived in Alabama for a year, was legitimate there. But bottom line is Roy Moore's last gasp at holding on to yet another recount is dead.
That's right. Today at 1, Doug Jones will be certified in Alabama as the next U.S. Senator.
Meanwhile, President Trump is touting a